For this part of the experiment, what we need to do is set up a time-lapse camera. And so I have one just over here on the right in the image, and it is set up. I think it's taking images about every 30 seconds. And then what you can see is we have our apparatus. I've placed it onto a cork pad, but you can just put it on a table. I did put a piece of paper towel underneath the 6-inch PVC pipe, the one that has all of the temperature sensors inserted into it, just in case we get a little bit of leakage as we're going through and adding the water. And so what I did is I just boiled water in a kettle, and I filled it about 2/3 of the way full, and I brought it to a boil, and so we have it here. And after it boiled, what I did is I then added cold water. So it's about 2/3 boiling water and then 1/3 cold water. So the temperature is going to be 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. So at this point, what we have to do, we have to be very, very careful. And we're going to take the hot water that is in the kettle and we're going to pour it into the 1/2-inch to 3/4-inch adapter. And then what we do is we just let the experiment go. And it'll take a couple of hours for the hot water to cool to room temperature. But so now what we're going to do, we're going to carefully pour this in. And you might get a little bit of leakage. It doesn't take that much. There's very little water, but just watch the other 3-inch riser on the opposite side. And when you see water starting to go up in the other riser, like we have there, so the other riser is located right here. When you see the water level start to go up to the top, then that's when the experiment begins. And so you can see now the temperature sensors, they're up 67 degrees Celsius. They're quite high. Some of them are at 65. And what we do is we just let this cool. And what we'll do, we'll be taking data every minute because we can watch the clock on the HTC2, and using the data off the clock, we'll be able to get a temperature measurement every minute. And from that, we're able to see the behavior of the 5 temperature sensors as they go through this experiment, as the water cools to room temperature. So it's going to cool down. I think the room temperature in here when I started was around 26 degrees C. It's evening now, it's 6:30, 6:50. And so it's going to start getting a little cooler as the sun goes down. There is a little bit of leakage coming out around the 6-inch pipe, especially with the hot water. But anyways, you can see that, and that's why you'll want to put that paper towel underneath the 6-inch pipe in order to take up any drippage that you might have. So make sure that when you do this experiment, you're not doing it on like, a really fancy hardwood table or anything like that. You want to ensure that you have something underneath the tube in order to be able to absorb any of the leakage that we have from the sensors. And you'll see the water level in the risers will begin to drop down. And once it gets, at the 90-degree elbow, the head driving that leak, so basically the hydrostatic head, is going to be pretty small. And so by that point, you won't have a lot of dripping coming after that. So anyways, that's the hot soak part of the experiment. And then the other one is the cold soak that we'll do after this experiment has been completed.